everybody. This is Jonathan Simpkin, the president of 604 Records, and I'm really excited to have the guests that we have today, but I do have to say, a bit of an elephant in the room. I can never pronounce this gentleman's name properly. I've already had one very embarrassing incident at a showcase where I introduced him and said his name completely wrong, and when I went back into the crowd, my wife said, "You idiot, you said his name wrong." Thank you, Jennifer, for correcting me. So I'm going to try again. I've been practicing. So everybody, I'd like to welcome Chevy Beaulieu.
Yeah, that was spot on.
Hey, I did it.
Thanks for having me.
You know what? Let's start with your name because, I mean, it is kind of an interesting name. It's not a name, at least on the West Coast, we hear a lot. What's the background of that last name?
The last name, it's been around for a long time. My great-grandfather was a guy named, they called him Old Man Beaulieu. He was on the Sir Alexander Mackenzie expedition. That was a long time ago now. And but it's just it's a big surname. It came across the ocean from France, and then it ended up intermingling with the rest of the First Nations in Canada. And it just got passed on. It's a big name. It's a big French last name.
A stupid question, I'm sure it is, but why would it have gotten so intermingled with the Indigenous population?
It's a big Métis last name, and it's all over Canada. You go right out east, and there's a lot of Beaulieus everywhere.
And what is your mix like in terms of your background?
On paper, I'm Salt River First Nations from Fort Smith, Northwest Territories. Yeah, that's Chip Cree.
How does the Métis thing figure into that then?
It's an interesting thing because I consider myself, I would call myself Heinz 57. So it's like 57 varieties. I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to say that catchphrase, but yeah, I call myself.
You're allowed to say it. I'm not.
57 varieties, and it's just a mixture of everything. My dad didn't speak English until he was like 6. He started off speaking French, speaking a bunch of different languages, his First Nations dialects. And what else here? Yeah, I'm just mixed up. I got family from different places all over northern Alberta and the Northwest Territories.
I wrote it down somewhere, but you grew up in a place I had never, Steen River. Is that right?
Yeah, those are my younger years there. It was Steen River, Alberta. And then we moved up to Hay River, Northwest Territories.
Boy, tell me about Steen River because I have not a clue what goes on there.
When I was a kid there, we had a lot of dogs. There was a few people still living there. It was almost the size of a hamlet at one time. But there's a fire base there, so that's where right across from it, which is surprising because the fires just decimate everything. There's nobody living there now.
Because of fires?
Oh, my uncle was the last one to be living there, and both my trailers that I grew up in they got burnt down. My dad's house that was over there got burnt down. It was kind of a sad moment there when I literally just consider myself from Steen River, and that was where my home was. Yeah, really sucked.
What was the last time you were there?
The last time I was there was in both my trailers that I grew up in they got burnt down. My dad's house that was over there got burnt down. It was kind of a sad moment there when I literally just consider myself from Steen River, and that was where my home was. Yeah, really sucked.
What was the last time you were there?
The last time I was there was probably, I was just up there. I drove through, went down to what we call a boat launch, but literally it's like a mud slick where we used to launch out when we used to go hunting with my dad.
Okay. And you lived there until what age?
I was back and forth my entire life. I went to Hay River when I was old enough to go to school, and then during the summer we would go back to Steen River up until I got older. I used to do that every summer.
And Hay River is where?
It's an hour north of the Alberta Northwest Territories border.
Wow. Okay.
So it's literally like hour 45 from Steen.
I've driven through most of Canada, but that's one part of Canada I have not seen, and I would love to, just because I really love to see all the parts of the country. And I know that music is something that, runs in your family. It wasn't something that, you were the first person in your family to be a musician. I know there's a sort of a rich history of that within your family. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, growing up there, I was raised, my father's a 3-time Canadian fiddle champion. So I grew up around a lot of music. Always had musicians around. It's funny, like compared to my family and people from out east. There, we did kitchen parties as well. That kind of style of jamming, just passing the guitar around. And I got my start out just playing rhythm for my dad, playing bass.
So you would have been.
I played bass on my dad's record. I think I was 12,
Oh, wow.
12 or 13. Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. I didn't even know there was a fiddle championship, quite frankly.
Yeah, it hasn't been that big lately. And it was really big in the 80s. That's when my dad was doing it.
Right. So was there ever any doubt that music was going to be what you were going to do?
Um, Starting out, my dad just kind of let it naturally occur because my grandfather he was hardcore. He used to force him to play back when he found out that he was actually any good at it.
Yeah.
My dad's been playing for years. He was born in 1952, so he's been playing for a long time. And he let it come out naturally. I didn't really get any more drive for music until about 18 years old. Got to open for the late Shane Yellowbird.
Yes.
And it was kind of my aha moment when I seen another First Nations boy on stage there, and I was like, I can do that. And rest in peace, Shane.
Yeah, that was sad. I met him a couple of times. Interesting cat. And yeah, no, I was a little distressed when he passed. That was sad. But yeah, he was a bit groundbreaking for sure.
Yeah, he showed us that we can we can be at the level that he was at, which is amazing. Like there's not very many people that did that for us. And I would love someday to have somebody somewhere have the same conversation. And didn't have running water. We had a well. And it was a pretty humbling experience growing up. And what else? My first name was given to me by my father. He kind of makes a joke. He's like, "Well, I couldn't afford new vehicles, so I named you guys off of vehicles that he wanted to have."
Oh, I thought maybe you were conceived in a Chevy.
I'm not sure. I really don't want to ask that question. I really don't want to ask that question.
I don't blame you. Okay, and let's fast forward a little bit. I was trying to remember how we even came into contact with you. I think it was an employee here, Emily. Does that sound right? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, and then I went through the proper channels. I was putting my music in submissions for like a couple of years, and finally went over someone's desk, and it happened to be Emily. She really pushed for me, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah, so that jives with my memory. I mean, when you run a record company, I probably I get like 300 emails every day, and of those 200 or 300 emails, 30 to 40 are Dear 604, I'm an artist, the same sort of email you probably wrote. And which is, that's what we do for a living, and it's great, but it's hard to find a needle in a haystack, so to speak, sometimes. And I do remember Emily sending it to me and being struck pretty quickly, kind of going, okay, I think there's something different about this guy. And I think as a label, or as a guy who runs a label, I've always been drawn to artists who are catchy, write good songs, perform well, obviously. But I always like it when people are a little bit different. And there was something that just struck me as like, this isn't like a lot of the submissions we get. And it had nothing to do with you being Indigenous. Like, I didn't even know that. I don't think. I just had like a demo or something I was listening to. But right away, it was like, geez, there's something. Because what struck me, I think, when I listened to those first recordings was that, I mean, yes, you sang well. Yes, the songs were catchy. But it felt like a bit of an interesting mix between traditional and modern. This could almost be Hank Williams, but then it also has something kind of modern feeling about it.
Yeah, I see what you mean there. There's like I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the rest of the tracks there, but there's like a little rock influence in there as well, which is up your alley there too. So
people always find 604 confusing because, like, when you look at the roster, it's all over the map.
Oh yeah,
and that's because I'm all over the map. I mean, truthfully, that's it. It's not that complicated. I just happen to. It's easier for me to name the types of music that I don't really like that much, and there aren't many. So for me, it's just like if something's catchy or speaks to me on some level. And then if I recall correctly, I think Emily and I went back and forth a bit and went, well, we should try and get his ass in here. Let's have him come into the building. And like, we're actually recording this in our sound stage. And you came in and you did a little showcase for us. So this is one of those things I'm always so fascinated to ask after the fact. Like, was that nerve-wracking for you? Was it something that you were nervous about? Was it?
Yeah, for sure. I was super, I was so happy when I left. I didn't know what was going to happen after a few months down the road. But yeah, my nerves were shot after that. My nerves are shot. I'm so used to just playing for a drunken crowd. And not, I do like a lot of songwriters things, but my back's always turned to the crowd because you're in a circle most of the time.
Oh, no, we were all sitting there in the circle staring at you.
You're just staring at me. It was nerve-wracking. It helps that like I'm not really good with names and putting faces to names, so that helps a lot for nerves. Like oh, who's in here? But I realized where I was at, and that struck me pretty hard.
Well, you did great. I mean, those showcases are interesting because you really learn a lot about an artist at those, because it's a weird experience. And I mean, even before I owned a record label, when I was an entertainment lawyer, and we used to take bands. Like I remember taking Marianas Trench down to LA, and this has to be 2000, so I'm 25 years ago. Geez, they were in high school, I think, still. And we would do these showcases at rehearsal spaces in LA, and it'd be a bunch of A&R guys, with their arms crossed, just kind of staring at you in a room. It's very intimidating. Like if you're in a bar and there's people having fun and screaming, okay, that's one thing, but just have a bunch of people staring at you is a little weird, I gotta think.
It's a pretty wild experience, especially when I went and did that showcase out in Toronto there a few months ago. That was pretty
You did great, man. Like, you know what? I mean, I'm the one who up by saying your name wrong, but it was funny because there was the one song where you screwed something up, and okay, that happens. Who cares? But your recovery was so perfect, and the way you dealt with it was perfect. And then you ended with that song that was so beautiful. And yeah, a lot of people definitely came up to me afterwards and were like, something about that guy, something interesting about that guy. I think everybody felt that. So I thought you did great.
Yeah, I learned the recovery from my dad playing with him all the time. Yeah. It's like, even if you mess up, you just keep playing.
So since then, you've made a record. And I'm so sorry, I've forgotten the producer. I know he's worked with Brett Kissel and a bunch of people.
Yeah, it's Bart McKay.
Thank you. Sorry, Bart, if you're listening. Who, by the way, I love dealing with him. He was so easy to deal with, straightforward, polite. I don't know. I'm a big believer in manners, and I'm a big believer in just treating people with respect. And I got never met the guy, but I got a great vibe off him.
Oh, he's a real respectful man, and he's very well known around the Alberta, Saskatchewan area.
Yep. He's kind of the go-to, or at least one of the go-to
guys. One of the go-tos for sure. I call him the mad scientist.
Yes. So he's worked with Kissel. He's worked with...
I'm pretty sure he did Gord Bamford's first record.
He did.
And he worked with Shane Yellowbird, which was a big full circle moment for me.
Of course. Great. So you made the record, and I mean, it's funny. I know there were a few moments throughout the course of that process where I could sense you were, getting a little impatient and sort of wanted to go out. And I always feel bad about that stuff because it's like, dude, finish the record. We want to make sure we know everything we have to choose from. And it's hard because, I mean, you're a new artist. It's like, I signed to a record label and now I have to sit around and wait for to happen. Like, was that difficult a little bit at first or not really?
I'm pretty used to it. I've been waiting 31 years, right? So. It's not quite of a big deal. If you would have told me like 5-6 years ago I'd be doing something like this, I probably would have laughed. Like it's like I had a lot of faith in myself. I was doing the whole radio thing and getting my songs out there, but you could only go so far without a good team.
I think that's true. And actually that leads me to another question, which is, you've been doing this for a while. I mean, did you have other labels ever approach you? Did you have managers? Like, is there any industry that's ever approached you?
Besides the fake ones in my emails? Not really. No, yeah. A lot of those.
Yeah, it's gross. People, unfortunately, it's an industry where because it plays into people's hopes and dreams. It's very easy for, like before I had the label and when I was just a lawyer and didn't do anything else, I had so many of those where I had people who had gotten ripped off by people in the business who take advantage of people's, hopes and dreams. And so it's easier for people to believe stuff, even though if they had been a little more objective in looking at something, they would have been like, why did I fall for that? Why did I really believe that? And I get it. You believed it because you wanted it to be true, Okay, so we're the first real sort of entertainment company you've worked with.
Yes.
I'm not looking for a specific answer here, so I don't want you to think I am. What's the experience been like for you? I mean, your first time being signed to a label. What's it been like? And by the way, if it's been horrible, feel free to say that.
No, it's been great. Working with them it's a great experience and very welcoming group of people.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that. That makes me feel great. And you have a single that's charting.
Yeah, if we want to.
Is that your first charting single?
Yes, first time breaking the top 50.
How's that feel?
It's a wild experience. It totally made my day when I found out about it there the other day. So
for what it's worth, it made my day too. I mean, it's something that, it's funny, even after all these years in the business, that kind of stuff still is exciting. And you hear the song on the radio and it's exciting. And I feel really kind of great about it all. And have you noticed anything different in the way either people treat you or the sort of emails you're getting or anything like that?
Not really. They still just treat me like Chevy because I'm like, a lot of my friends, they're mostly just friends in the industry. Everyone knows who I am now they do in the country music industry, which is nice. And it's just nice. The only time I ever see them is during the awards, right? So like everybody all at once. It's nice for people to see an actual different perspective of me that I'm taking this seriously.
Yep. So your record is a combination of songs that you wrote and songs that were written by other people. Is it a different experience recording your own music as opposed to recording music by other people, or is it really not different in terms of, I don't know, how it feels when you sing it or when you perform it?
Well, I'm a big believer of a good song is a good song. In comparison, my favorite is recording my own music because I wrote on it, but because I put in a lot of hard work for the last few years. But on the other hand, it's interesting being able to cut other people's songs and be able to find those songs that you really like. And it's just the whole process. It was brand new for me.
Country music's interesting that way because in rock music and alternative music, people kind of expect the person who's singing it is also the person who wrote it. And it's interesting how in country music that just doesn't seem to matter. I mean, there are huge country artists who I don't even think have ever written a song. Like, I'm a big fan of George Strait, which marks me as an old guy. Because I am old, goddammit.
I love his music too.
I don't think he's ever written a song. None of those songs were written by him. And it's interesting to me because on some level, I guess, so what? I mean, you might as well have written them. That sure sounds like he's singing them from the heart. And
you could sure sell them.
And they're selling and it sounds authentic.
Yeah.
I've just always found that side of things so interesting. I mean, we've worked with a lot of country artists. Some of them write all their own songs. Some of them don't write their songs at all. Again, it doesn't seem to really matter in that genre. Whereas if you're a rock band and somebody else, you would never be writing other people's or singing other people's songs because I think there's a different sort of, it would be like people would think you're inauthentic. It's just funny how, from the genres, it's people treat it so differently.
Yeah, it's that's an interesting one. I got no comment on that one.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you a bit, if it's okay, about your, like the job you do that isn't.
Yeah, sure.
Because you've told me a little bit and it's just sort of fascinating to me. Is it a diamond mine?
Yeah. It's a diamond mine up in the tundra. It's cold there.
Yeah. What's a typical day like? So you show up for work and what are you doing?
Well, I'm a process plant operator, so I run equipment as well, loaders and stuff, take care of conveyors and big crushing machines. They crush rock, but we don't really see diamonds up there. So, but
why not? I mean,
because it's in a different part of the plant where I work.
I see.
but I can't really talk that much about it because we have that whole confidentiality thing.
Understood.
But that's what I do for work.
And how long have you been doing that?
7 years. It'll be or 8 years in July, depending on how if we want to goes.
I was going to ask you a bit about that. Like, is it the kind of thing where, like, if the music career really takes off, like you'll have no hesitation sort of leaving the other job?
For sure. If I can be comfortable off of it and make it work, I would leave.
Interesting. You currently live where? Airdrie?
Yeah, I'm out at Airdrie.
That's kind of Calgary, right? Isn't it?
Give her a few more years. They've been breaking ground all over that area, so it might be a community soon.
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant. Like, because Calgary is so sprawling, like it just keeps like moving out.
Yeah, they build outwards, not upwards for some reason. I don't get it.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. I've always found Calgary confusing, largely for that reason. Like, I have to be honest, not the biggest fan of Calgary. Please don't email me or tweet at me about that. I'm sorry, people. But it's a funny place, right? Because like it's a funny combination of things in a way, because it's so sprawling and like the way it looks, but then there's all sorts of corporate headquarters there. So it's also a very corporate place. But I always find it confusing because 5 p.m. comes along and man, that downtown empties out. Like there is nothing going on downtown. And then if you want some action, I guess you go over to 17th Ave. I don't know. I just find it a lot
of those buildings cleared out after people started working from home
after the COVID
thing. So that's probably why there's a lot of vacancies in the offices downtown, because they found out it's cheaper for people to work from home.
Well, I will say one of my favorite hotels in the world is in Calgary, and anytime I go there, I stay at the Hotel Arts, which is a really awesome hotel for anybody. And I'm not getting paid for that endorsement. I just like that place for a number of reasons. Number one, every room's got a balcony. And, hypothetically, were I somebody who liked to smoke weed, I hypothetically could then go out on the balcony and smoke weed.
Yeah, I may or may not have.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's talk about sort of how you sort of see this playing out. So we've put out a single, it's charting, it feels good right now. I mean, radio's a funny thing, it can go well one day and then go horribly the next. And, that's why the one piece of advice I always give to every artist we work with, and you can consider me giving it to you now, is, it's really good not to let the highs get you too high or the lows get you too low, because there'll be plenty of both. So you have a song chart, and of course it feels amazing, and it is amazing. But, it's like, it could be the next single that's the one that blows you up. You just never really know this stuff. But, are assuming things continue to go well, what do you want to be doing? You want to be touring? You want to be, how do you see it playing out?
I'd love to tour. I love playing live music. That's the whole reason why I got into doing my own type of music, is because I got tired of playing covers all the time and in the family band, and I was like, well, I might as well start writing. But I'd love to play music full time as a live act.
Do you have a band? Like, do you have a regular band that plays?
No, I just do the very few times that I play with a full band. The last little bit here, I usually just do hired guns. Have people I know. There's a lot of musicians in the Calgary area.
Sure is, especially of that genre. So yeah. I noticed, because I was doing a little, like, obviously I know you and I've, but I don't know you that well. And I mean, I was looking at some stuff from, like, I Googled and looked on some of your social media and stuff. And I saw a couple of mentions of sort of mental health stuff, more in the sense of like you talking about how writing and stuff helps you with that aspect of things. If you don't mind, I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Well, songwriting is self-expression, and a lot of songs don't make it on the albums and stuff, but it's just good to get it out there. I did poetry back in a few years back too, just as an outlet to see if it's kind of similar. But yeah, mental health thing. Music was always a big thing for me. Like, being a young kid, there, hard to control your emotions. You had to be able to figure it out, sending it in one direction instead of all over the place. You're either happy, you're sad, you're angry. That's why I picked up the guitar in the first place.
Yeah. When you write a song, um, is it something usually specifically that you're referencing, like something happens and then you're like, I'm going to write a song about that? Or is it not that specific? Is it more just sort of the mood strikes you to write a song and whatever comes out, comes out?
Oh yeah, it all depends on the atmosphere, and I pick up a lot from stories from other people. Is another one. Or life experiences, but other than that, my writing process is so sporadic; it's all over the place. And yeah, sometimes I think of a hook just randomly. It has nothing even to do with the situation. I could be like shoveling dirt and think about being at the beach or something.
We're super stoked to have you as part of the team, and really excited for what's to come. I think it's going to be like we're sitting here in Vancouver, Juno week. I don't know when this is going to end up being aired, but it's Tuesday of Juno week here. We're having a big party here on Friday, which I believe you're playing at.
Yeah,
and so that'll be interesting because a lot of the biggest sort of power players in the music business will be here. Not to make you nervous.
oh, I'm getting used to it. I'm getting used to hanging out around people now. I'll definitely be a lot better than last time.
Oh, what, in Toronto?
Yeah,
dude. If you were as good as you were there, I'll be very happy. So I'm not worried about that at all. No, it's going to be a blast. I mean, we had a Juno party here in 2018, and it was a great vibe. I mean, it's kind of nice. I think that people come here and they kind of unwind a little bit, and it's such an interesting building. It's